Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do something that people don't like to do very often. We're going to talk about this movie. Looking back now 12 years later, the history of The Incredible Hulk, which came out on June 8th, 2008, is complicated, to say the least. In addition to being the lowest grossing film in the MCU, mainly because they decided to release it just 1 month after Iron Man, it's considered by many to be probably the worst film in the MCU, and some even question if it's even canon. One of the reasons being that the Hulk was not portrayed by Mark Ruffalo in this movie, who people have come to know as a character. He was portrayed by Edward Norton. In addition to that, many of the characters in this movie never appeared again in the MCU, and to be honest, this movie's events are very scarcely ever even mentioned. It's almost like, much like the fan base, Marvel itself is just trying to pretend like this movie didn't exist. And does it deserve that? Well, I don't know. I mean, it's got good acting, kinda, some of it's cringe. It's got okay CGI, well, kinda, I guess. And the action's good. You could argue that this is the best movie that has the Hulk in it. This is the best movie where he's actually hulked out. This is the most brutal Hulk you could see. But I don't know, man. There's just something about it where it's not as good. But is it terrible? Absolutely not. Actually, watching it back, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It's strange. What do I mean by strange? Well, let's get into it and I'll tell you what I mean. So this movie starts a little strange because it runs through all the backstory in the opening title sequence. Dr. Bruce Banner and his girlfriend Betty meet with General Ross about an experiment that is apparently going to make humans immune to gamma radiation. It goes incredibly wrong though, as Banner transforms into the Hulk for the first time and gravely injures Betty and Ross, as well as killing a couple others. Also during this, it weirdly shows Betty in the hospital and Banner's just there looking after her, and then Ross just appears and he knows what he did and he just allows Banner to leave? It's weird. It's a little weird. This starts weird. Well, fuck it, it's time jump time. We fast forward to 5 years later while Banner is now living in Brazil and has been able to go 158 days without incident. Good for him. One of the factors in this seems to be that Banner is doing yoga, among other things, to try to keep his condition from rising up again. Banner also has a job at a bottling facility. It's boring, but pays the bills, I guess. While he's talking to his boss and helping him, he accidentally cuts his finger and some of his blood falls down onto a bottle down below. Luckily, Banner was able to clean it back up though, and there's no blood with the oh crap. After work is over, Banner also mentions to save his colleague Martina, who clearly has a crush on him, from a gang of angry douchebags. Banner tries to use the classic "you wouldn't like me when I'm angry" line, but isn't really good at speaking Portuguese, and it comes out as "you wouldn't like me when I'm hungry." Banner, under the alias of Mr. Green, get it, because he's the Hulk, and is also collaborating online with a mysterious counterpart by the name of Mr. Blue. Mr. Blue has sent Banner some flowers to help with his condition, which obviously didn't fucking work because they're flowers, and he tells Banner that he needs a sample of his blood, which Banner finally agrees to send to him. Meanwhile, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Stan Lee is going for a drink. Uh-oh, it's the drink that has Banner's blood in it. Ross catches wind of this too and finds out it came from a bottling facility in Brazil. Time to get out of there, Bruce. To assist him in bringing Banner back, Ross has acquired the service of Emil Blonsky, a Royal Marine Commando from the United Kingdom, originally Russian-born. Back in Brazil, though, Banner has received the good news from Mr. Blue that he may have a cure for him. However, Mr. Blue needs more data, which he can't get because the notes are all the way back in Virginia. Banner goes to sleep distraught, but he's not able to stay asleep for long. Blonsky and his team invade Banner's apartment. He's able to evade them for a little bit, but they end up spotting him and pretty much chasing him throughout the entire city. Just when it looks like Banner's finally about to get away, he runs into those douchebags he saved Martina from earlier, and now he's getting chased by two groups of people. Banner eventually escapes into the bottling facility, but the douchebags end up finding him first. They keep beating him up until Banner's heart rate hits 200, and well, it's morphin' time. Banner transforms into the Hulk, probably kills the Brazilian douchebags, and just completely walks through Blonsky and his team. Also, they keep shooting at him, even though it's very obvious the bullets are just bouncing right off him and not doing anything, but yet they just keep shooting him. This will become a recurring theme later, you'll see what I mean. Blonsky and Ross didn't come away with nothing though. They have his laptop and stuff, which means they have his conversations with Mr. Blue. Blonsky is bewildered at what the hell attacked them in there and demands answers until Ross lets him know that Banner and the Hulk are one and the same. But meanwhile, in the Legion of Tranquility, Banner wakes up near a waterfall. Looks like everything's fine for him. Stopping a nearby truck though, turns out Banner isn't in Brazil anymore at all. He's in Guatemala. Banner begs for money in the streets and is able to acquire some clothes, and then begins his journey back home. Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom, Blonsky wants to know more about the Hulk, and Ross tells him about how the Hulk was the first member of a new super soldiers program they were inventing. Ross implies that Banner was just early work though, and he has other serums. Blonsky implies that he would be interested in taking some of those other serums. Banner arrives back at his old school of Culver University in Virginia, but learns a couple new things about it. Well, for one, he can't just walk in anymore. I mean, come on dude, this is post 9/11, there's security detail now. He also spots his ex-girlfriend Betty and is somewhat heartbroken to learn that she has a new boyfriend. But I mean, dude, it's been like 5 years, not like she was gonna wait for you. Banner meanwhile meets up with his old boss Stanley, who provides him with a place to sleep, and also provides him with a way into the university. All he has to do is bribe Lou Ferrigno with pizza, and then a college student with more pizza, and he's in. Unfortunately though, after looking for Betty's files, Banner finds that all the files related to him have been deleted. Somewhat conveniently though, Betty and her new boyfriend show up at the pizza place that night, and she spots Banner. Banner decides to yeet the fuck on out of there, but she follows him and they reunite and go back to her place. Hey, look at that, the information isn't lost. Turns out Betty just stole it, I guess. She wants to take Bruson's information to Ross and just confront him about it, but Bruce informs her that it's not that simple. Ross wants to make the Hulk into a weapon. To that point, Ross is busy at work, making Blonsky a weapon. Banner and Betty go to part ways outside the university the next day, but here comes the military again. They end up cornering Bruce in a building and throwing smoke grenades at him, and he sees no other alternative. Time to transform. And this scene, I gotta say, was really silly to me because it almost portrayed the military as idiots. They just keep shooting him. Even though it's obvious the gun bullets are just bouncing right off him, they keep shooting him and shooting him and shooting him, and it's obviously not doing anything, but they keep doing it! Blonsky, meanwhile, is able to put his new super abilities on display, and using his newfound super speed, is able to lure the Hulk into a trap. They've trapped the Hulk with supersonic energy, and it looks like they have him. However, after he hears Betty's cries for help, he's able to break through and destroy the trucks. Blonsky, being a fucking idiot, just decides to shoot at him some more and then confront him, and Hulk kicks him into a tree, and well, yeah, he's dead. He's straight dead. Military decides, fuck it, guns don't work, time for helicopter with guns. The helicopter crashes onto Hulk and Betty, although Hulk's able to save her, but just barely. Conveniently, it starts to rain, I suppose that'll put the fire out quicker, and Hulk flees with Betty in his arms. We then learn that it was Betty's boyfriend that tipped off the military, but he feels super bad about it and super regrets it, so I guess it's fine. The Hulk has meanwhile brought Betty to a nearby cave. Hulk also gets mad at the rain and yeets a rock at it, but Betty's able to calm him down a bit. Oh hey look, Blonsky's still alive. I mean, barely. Kinda. Sorta. Barely, but he's alive. When Betty wakes up, Banner has transformed back into himself. They rent a hotel room and begin to start their new life on the run. There's also a news report talking about the incident at the university, in which the green monster gets the nickname the Hulk. That's right, this is where the name came from apparently. He didn't have it before, he got it from this news report. That's when they started calling him that. Why is this important? You'll see near the end of this. Banner and Betty get a little frisky and they're about to have sex, but Banner doesn't want to destroy her with his massive Hulk cock, so they held off. Back in Legion of Doom, hey look, Blonsky's just fine, completely healed. Looks like the super serum worked. Banner and Betty meanwhile decide to take off, but first, Banner sends a message to Mr. Blue telling him that it's time to meet. The message is intercepted though by the US military, and it's revealed that Mr. Blue is really Dr. Samuel Stearns, who works in New York City. Going back to Legion of Doom for a second, it looks like Blonsky's gonna undergo even more super serum, because that seems like a totally good idea. Banner and Betty arrive in New York and meet up with Stearns, who tells him about the antidote he's developed, warns him it might kill him, but screw it, I mean, I gotta try it. Things don't seem to be going too well for Blonsky though, as his new serum has fucked up his physique and is screwing with his back. Oh my god, he's got scoliosis. It's now do or die time. They're gonna test this antidote. They induce the Hulk. It almost goes very bad, but hey, it worked. Eureka. After this though, Banner and Betty learn a dark secret from Stearns, that he has synthesized all of Bruce's blood into making a lot of Bruce's blood, and plans to use it to the future to cure all diseases. That sounds good and all, but it's also really dangerous, and Bruce suggests that they destroy it. But as the recurring theme in this movie, the military is here yet again to spoil all the fun. After Bruce and Betty have been arrested, Blonsky decides to confront Stearns and wants him to inject him with the serum to make him like the Hulk. I gotta say that this scene is really weird because the dialogue between Stearns and Blonsky is kinda just cringe, and Blonsky's doing a weird thing. I can't tell if he's phoning it in or if he's just trying to act like he's completely fucked up. It's very strange. Stearns injects Blonsky, but turns out mixing all these super serums may not be such a good idea, and Blonsky transforms into the Abomination. Stearns gets some of this radiation too as well, and I imagine he was maybe supposed to be used as the villain for the second movie. That didn't end up happening though, so you know. The Abomination begins a rampage through New York City and destroys everything in sight. Back on the helicopter, Banner and friends catch wind of this, and Banner convinces Ross to let him go after him. Banner decides to jump out of the helicopter, hoping he'll transform it into Hulk. I mean, it's not like he's just gonna hit the ground, right? Oh shit. Don't worry though, he's fine, he transformed. Also, I didn't really like this just because, I'm trying to think about this in context. Right after Blonsky sees him, he says, "Oh, Hulk," but like, he wasn't called the Hulk until the news report. Did you all just watch the news report? Like, I'm so confused about this. Anyway, though, the fight is on now, and they begin kicking each other's ass all throughout New York City. Eventually, Ross's helicopter gets involved, and they decide to shoot at the Abomination. Again, why? How has that... This hasn't worked the whole movie. We've learned the whole movie that this wasn't gonna work. Just stop shooting at him. Abomination and Hulk end up bringing the helicopter down, and everybody crashes on top of a rooftop. Oh, look at that. Everybody in the helicopter is dead except the two main characters. That's convenient. Hulk and Abomination continue to fight, but oh no! The helicopter is about to blow up. Quick, Hulk, use Thunderclap. Hey, it worked. While Hulk is distracted though, Abomination starts whipping him with a chain until Hulk brings out the classic Hulk Smash! And again, that was awesome, but in the context of this, it doesn't make much sense, because he only got the name Hulk from the news report when they started reporting him as a Hulk-like creature. So how does he know he's called the Hulk? Does the Hulk watch the fucking news? Anyway, Hulk decides it's big murder hours and starts choking Abomination with the chain. Betty yells at him to stop though, and he's like, alright, fine, I won't kill him. Hulk is able to finally have a peaceful moment with Betty, but then another helicopter just comes out of fucking nowhere, and it's hardcore parkour time. A month later, Banner has retreated to British Columbia, but now he's not trying to suppress the condition anymore. It's implied that he's learned to control it. In the final scene, Ross is getting shit-faced in a bar until he's approached by Tony Stark, who informs him that he needs help locating the Hulk because a team is being put together. So again, this movie isn't terrible. It's just, it's weird. It's kind of weird. They portray the US military as idiots for all of it. I mean, let me say, the acting performances by Norton and Liv Tyler as Betty Ross are really good, but then Blonsky's kind of weird in that one scene, and Stern's just kind of weird in general, and Ross, even though he's a military general, just looks like an idiot for the whole movie because they keep shooting him. Why do they keep fucking shooting at him? Bullets don't work, they just bounce off him. You'd think they'd learn that after the first time? But I guess the question here is, does this movie really deserve to be forgotten about? And obviously, again, it's forgotten about for multiple reasons. There's question over whether the events are even canon because they get rid of most of the characters. Edward Norton's not in it anymore. I don't know if it necessarily deserves to be forgotten about, but it's also not very memorable either. A big positive, though, I can take from this, which I talked about a little bit at the beginning, is if you are looking for a movie that has pure unbridled Hulk, like Hulk at his most brutal form, not the weak, planet shit Hulk shit they're doing in Endgame, stuff like that. You're talking like pure, unbridled Hulk fury. This actually might have been the best portrayal of it. But overall, this movie just seemed like a weak follow-up to Iron Man, and maybe they screwed this movie. I mean, they did release it a month after Iron Man. Maybe they should have given it more time to breathe. I mean, now if they released a movie a month later, they could probably get away with it, but this was 2008. This was the beginning of the MCU. Nothing had taken off yet, so I feel like this movie kind of got screwed a little bit, but at the same time, it wasn't really that good to hold up on its own. So now for the first time, I'm going to take you to my Marvel big board, where we'll be ranking every single film in the MCU. We'll be doing this with Godzilla as well, starting in a Godzilla Raids Again review. But I think it's pretty obvious here. For now, Iron Man number 1, this number 2. Spoiler alert for the future, Iron Man is going to stay number 1 for a long time, but will this stay last forever? Is this really the worst movie in the MCU? To be honest with you, I don't know. It's definitely gonna stay bottom 3, but I don't know if it'll stay the worst the entire time. There's only one way to find out though. We gotta look towards the future. So I know what you're thinking. Damn, okay, this is a weak follow-up to Iron Man. But you know what? The MCU obviously got kicking real well in phase 1. This is gonna kick off fun. It's gonna be great. Now we're gonna go to an even better movie, right? It's gonna be awesome. Well, not really, no. In conclusion, was this movie worth watching? Is this movie still worth watching? Yeah, I think so. Again, if you want a big, powerful Hulk and you want somewhat good acting by Norton and Tyler at least, and you want to watch stupid military shoot Hulk for a while, then yeah, you know what? Go watch this movie. This movie's, it's not terrible. I think people make this movie out to be like it's terrible, and it's not. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's arguably not even good, but it's okay. methinks that is going to about do it for my look back at The Incredible Hulk 2008. I will see you guys in the next MCU review with Iron Man 2, and I will see you guys on this channel next time when we take a look back at the second film in the Godzilla franchise, Godzilla Raids Again. I appreciate you guys' support on those first two videos. You guys really seem to like the Iron Man and Godzilla review videos. While they take me a while to make, and this is probably going to take a while to edit as well, it's really fun. I'm really enjoying this series. I had been thinking about doing these series for so long. Again, my original idea for it was in June of last year, and I'm really happy that I'm finally doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys will continue to support these. Thank you to all 37 of my patrons, by the way, for continuing to support me and both my channels. You're all named in the description. If you want to look at any other of my social media links, they are all in the description down below as well. My name is Noah Taft. This has been my MCU look back at The Incredible Hulk 2008, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.